Hey everyone, this is Derek Bros with the Conscious Resistance Network, and I just want to share some personal thoughts with you guys. For those of you who are maybe new to our channel, who've come within the last month, the last 2 months since Jeffrey Epstein's arrest, who've been tuning in for my Epstein content and for my Epstein documentary and some of my investigations into the pedophilia networks, this might be something new to you, but those of you who've been around longer, you know what this is. This is one of my more personal stream of consciousness thoughts. No script here, no teleprompter, just going to share some things that have been on my mind and hopefully connect with you guys in a more tangible, realistic fashion than simply just talking about news and items like that. So I hope you enjoy this and stay tuned for more. So the title of this is The Insatiable Desire to Help the World. And I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from. You know, everything I do that I've been doing since I first woke up in 2010, 2009, 2010, has been motivated by this desire to meet with other people and talk to other people about the problems in the world. In the beginning, it was mainly me getting sucked into, quote unquote conspiracies and waking up to the New World Order and then digging into 9/11 and then fluoride and then, geoengineering and then just all kinds of topics. A lot of the things that many of us get into now, of course, the Federal Reserve System to the whole banking scam and all of that. And just finding this intense desire to have to go talk to people and really not wanting to feel alone. And yeah, I just started to hit the streets and pass out flyers about those topics and to talk to my friends close around me. And I very quickly found out which friends thought that I was crazy and said like, "No, man, like you're going off your rocker. I can't hang out with you." And which of my friends felt the same way and were doing similar research or were asking similar questions. And in 2010, that evolved into what became the Houston Freethinkers. And it started in my apartment in Houston with just 5 people, the 5 people who didn't think I was crazy. And we started hosting meetings and asking, what can we do? How can we reach new people? And it led to documentary screenings every month. It led to me living in 3 different community houses where we would do different community events, from skill shares on how to grow your own food or how to brew your own beer or how to speak Spanish or all kinds of different helpful, informative skills and educational workshops. We were involved with rallies and protests and marches. We were involved in building community gardens and benefit shows, raising money for homeless organizations or for anti-drug war organizations, for anti-war organizations, and doing all kinds of different things. Along the way, I learned that I like to write, and I love to write and to research, and that I have some skills for it. And I started to get paid to do that, and I did that. Then I started to speak publicly in 2013, getting invited to speak at different events. And then in 2014, 2015, I co-authored my first book in the first of the Conscious Resistance trilogy. And 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018, I've released new books. And every one of these actions, including now running for mayor of Houston, has been a part of this insatiable desire to reach people and to help the world and to help myself as well. Not as if, to go around acting as if I've got all the answers or anything, but just really understanding that the magnitude of what we're dealing with, pedophilia networks, human trafficking networks, a corrupt government, and corporations that work together to fleece the people and to take away our rights, that this is a battle and a struggle that I can't take on alone, that I can't do this by myself, and that if there's going to be any success, any hope in me actually trying to overcome these things as an individual, then I'm going to need a community of people. And that community of people is based in Houston, but then it's also you guys, all the beautiful people that I've met over the last 2 years when I did 2 U.S. speaking tours. Again, that's another action I took. 2017, 45 city U.S. tour. 2018, 53 U.S. city tour, volunteering in every community, giving 2-hour presentations, meeting and having conversation, hundreds of conversations, and connecting with people all over this country, and now in Mexico and in parts of Europe. And all of that, again, it comes from this insatiable desire to connect to people. Insatiable, what does that word mean? It means insatiable, incapable of being satisfied. So there is this thing that exists within me, and sometimes I wish I could cut myself open and pull it out and rid myself of this desire to better the world and to better myself and to educate and to learn and to share and to connect and to grow. But every day since 2010, it's been there. No matter how much time I take off, maybe I miss making a YouTube video for a week, or I don't write an article for a couple of weeks, or I take a short break from my activism. But at the end of the day, I keep coming back to it, that I want to connect with people. I keep having conversations. I keep posting memes or posting online or putting up flyers around my city or hosting events time after time, no matter how long passes. I can't put this down. In some ways, it is kind of like an addiction. And, I've been addicted to drugs in the past. I've been addicted to lots of negative behaviors. And this feels like this passion, this quote unquote hobby, feels like the most important thing to me that I've ever done. That's why I don't just put it down and walk away. Even when I feel frustrated and exhausted and burnt out and feel like I can't do this anymore, this fire that's within me to reach people and to connect with people, it's not motivated by my own ego to get a certain amount of subscribers or to sell a lot of books or to be on TV or to be worshipped or any of those things. I'm thankful that I've been on TV. I'm thankful that I've been able to write these books and sell some of them and have people say positive things about them. I'm thankful that my name is out there for the work I've done. But the reason I appreciate each of those things is because they further my goal of reaching as many people as possible. Again, that's why I'm running for mayor, to reach as many people as possible. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is that if some of you have been a little upset at me because I've been kind of going hard or being a little rough on the YouTube audience lately, it's because this is where I'm coming from. I don't know what motivates you. I would like to know what motivates you. This isn't supposed to just be a one-way conversation. And those of you who have joined our Discord channel or who've talked to me privately, we have this kind of community one-on-one conversations. I know a lot of your names, or at least your online social media usernames. And I've gotten to know some of you and I see your motivations. You're inspired or motivated by protecting your family and protecting your kids or wanting to have a future family or things like that. And I feel those things as well. I feel a desire to help the world and help myself and better the world for my nieces and nephews who are growing up in this world and who are still, all 6 of them, under 10 years old, trying to grow up in this craziness that we are dealing with. And I also think about the future potential of myself to have children and have a family. And all of those things motivate me to wake up every day and think, what can I do today? Let me look at the news. Can I write an article that will help expose people to this truth or that truth? Can I do a video about a topic that nobody else is exploring that might get some attention, even if it just means 100 views or a few hundred views or a few thousand or a few 100,000, whatever it may be? Can I go downtown to city council and spend a couple hours out of my day to get that done? Can I go pass out flyers in my community? What activists can I coordinate with and collaborate with so that we can keep reaching more people? What interviews can I do, or what people can I interview? Can I do man on the street interviews? Who in my family can I talk to and have a conversation about this? Who among my friends? I mean, this is my thought process. It's just a constant blitz of unending thoughts of trying to figure out how to reach new people. And like I said, I've been addicted to other things before. And this is probably one of the healthiest addictions I've ever had because it's led to so much greatness in my life. It's allowed me to reach and meet many of you out there, like real world, face to face. It's allowed me to meet many of the people who inspired me when I first started this journey in 2009 and 2010. And in some ways, I feel like, work along with them or maybe surpass them and our goals or our reach. And if I'm being rough to you, the YouTube audience, or wherever you're hearing this, BitChute, Steemit, DTube, etc., if I'm being rough to you by, trying to hammer home the point that it's going to take more than just sitting behind a computer to change the world, it's because this is where I'm coming from. Because when I wake up every single day, I'm trying to think of how to continue reaching more people. And honestly, let's be brutally honest, I think anything less than that, anything less than waking up every day and thinking about how you can move yourself forward. I'm not saying how you can expose Epstein per se, but how you can get you and your family more protected, more resources, more knowledgeable, more independent, and more self-sustaining, how you can build community, and all these kinds of things are also how you can work on your internal struggle, against your own internal tyrant, and help heal your traumas, facing your shadow, dealing with your doubts, fears, and insecurities. I wake up every day trying to think about that. And I'm not saying every day is successful. I'm not saying that I'm, some person to look up to. I'm just another person like you guys. But when I found myself in this path, it changed everything. I had to quit my job. I was managing a restaurant, working 6 days a week. I woke up and I realized that everything I'd been told was a lie. So I sold everything that I had. I gave up the job, gave up the apartment I had, and I traveled on my bicycle across Texas into New Mexico in the summer, or the winter of 2011. And I spent 3 months on the road learning about farming, learning about gardening, learning about permaculture, learning about myself, challenging myself, struggling, screaming and crying out to God, to the Creator, to the sky, asking for help, and learning so much about who I am and what I'm capable of, just like I learned about what I'm capable of when I went to prison. And since that time, the only thing that has mattered to me is to do these kinds of things, to keep talking to people, to keep reaching people. And I'm not expecting or requesting or demanding or hoping that you guys are going to follow my path and give up everything. We all have different paths, different stories. Many of you already have families. Some of you got mortgages. Some of you have written to me and said, I feel like I'm in chains because I already have a mortgage, or I already have this or that that's keeping me stuck, and I want to change my situation, but I don't know what to do. And I empathize with you and I have compassion to you, because choosing this lifestyle that I have, it comes with plenty of struggles. I struggle to afford to pay my own dental bills sometimes, or to take care of my health, because I'm committed more to spreading truth than I am making a lot of money. And that's just me. I'm not downing anybody else for the path that they've taken. But my point here is I want to share with you my motivations. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. So if you're just tuned in because you want to hear the latest on Epstein or the latest news stories, there will be those, and there will be plenty coming. But I also want you to know that this channel, The Conscious Resistance, the very idea of what I built this network on, is not just about exposing the physical world. It is about an internal struggle as well, about finding the spiritual path to healing and to trauma. And we all take different paths. Some of you are Christians. I'm aware of that. Some of you might be atheists. Some of you are spiritual people. Others are Buddhists. Others practice Islam. Others might be practicing a native spirituality like myself. And others are just agnostic and they don't know what's going on, but they have some sense that there is a deeper world going on. And it's important to understand that the people who want to be in control, the powers that wish they were, they also understand this. So I say all of this in this kind of long-winded rant to ask you guys, why are you doing the things you do? Why do you get motivated to come to my channel, and I'm sure other channels? And I've talked about this. Some of you are stuck in a cycle of conspiratainment, infotainment, where you just hop from one channel to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And I do it sometimes as well. And I have to stop myself and say, is there something productive I can do with my time? Because, I can just sit here and obsess about this and learn about the minutia of the latest on Jeffrey Epstein and this and this and that. Or I can actually go tell people about these things. I can go, actually spread awareness. Or I can say, you know what, in order to combat that problem, whether that's human trafficking, pedophilia networks, surveillance, government intrusion in our lives, corporate malfeasance, destruction of the environment, people's lack of communication, just hurt in the world in general, you can either just sit there and obsess about it, you can feel overwhelmed and overcome by it, or you can be proactive. And there are lots of activists and journalists that I'm starting to notice who are taking a very cynical, and I would consider a defeatist mentality, and saying, you're not free, okay? You're not free. These people are in control. You're a slave. You're a slave. And they want to reinforce that mentality. And on one level, that is true, that there are these powerful people who control a lot of our lives, and it can feel very much like we are slaves and like we are powerless. But I refuse to accept that, and I refuse to believe that, because everything that I know and everything that I've seen over the last 10 years has shown me that just by standing up and taking an action, good things happen. If I had never taken those first steps to start researching after I started to wake up and to talk to my family, then the Houston Freethinkers would have never started. If I never made those efforts to get up out of my house and go to that march or go to that event or that meeting or to have that conversation whenever I was feeling lazy or down or just exhausted or burnt out, then positive things wouldn't have happened. My point is, if you don't take action, then you're not going to see the fruit of it. You have to be willing to take a step out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to step up to the plate, to challenge yourself in order to empower yourself. Challenge yourself to empower yourself. Push yourself past those insecurities, past those fears and doubts, past that bubble of comfort. You know, one of my biggest fears in my life has been to get comfortable, because I'm afraid to find something comfortable and then just to stay static and to stop growing. I don't want to be comfortable just writing a few articles a week and making a few YouTube videos a week and just do that for the next 10, 15 years or whatever. I want to keep growing. I constantly want to keep evolving as a person and finding new ways to reach people, finding new ways to connect to you. And that's why I've done all these different forms that I've talked about. Doing tours, doing speaking events, doing videos, doing conference calls, marches, rallies, protests, garden builds, campaigning for mayor, writing books. All of these different things are a part of this single goal, and it comes back to that insatiable desire to change the world and to heal myself. That is what I'm motivated by. So if I'm a little rough on you and I talk down or I try to rattle your cage a little bit by talking, bluntly, it's because I'm doing that on purpose. It's because I want to find your motivations. I want you to find your motivations. I want you to think about why you do this. And I want to encourage you to actually, if you haven't stopped to think why you're doing this, why you're going through your day, once you understand that and you see, well, I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing this because it's important, because it needs to be exposed, or whatever your reason is, ask yourself, though, are you taking true action? And the actions are going to look different for each of us. But I would say start focusing on ways you can opt out of these systems, remove yourself from these systems, because there's no president, there's no mayor, there's no attorney general, there's nobody that you can elect to office that's going to fix this system for you, for any of us. The only thing that will fix it is by removing ourselves from it and preparing for the next stage of humanity and letting this system crumble under its own weight, and choosing to put our energy and our time and our money and our resources and our communities into building the next stage of our evolution, a world where human beings respect self-ownership, respect each individual's power, beauty, and freedom, and that we learn to communicate in a healthy, compassionate way, and not a utopia, but a place where at least we have that basic general respect for each person. And from there, we can create new systems that are not suppressive and oppressive and authoritarian, that force everybody to go along with it. We can have a flourishing of diversity and of spontaneous order. And it is possible, my friends. It's generations down the line. But if we don't take steps now and actually start working on ourselves and helping the planet and helping each other, then we'll never get there. So I've told you why I'm doing this. Now you know why I make these videos. Now you know why I write these articles, and I make these documentaries, and I write these books, and I do the things I do. But why do you do the things you do? I'd love to hear your thoughts below if you want to share them, and I appreciate everybody listening. I want to remind you guys that I'm running a crowdfunding campaign the rest of August. Support the Future of the Conscious Resistance Network. We've raised about $1,400 of our $5,000 goal, and we've had 11 contributors. Thank you guys. We have 9 days left for anybody who might want to contribute. Any and all amounts are appreciated. And thank you guys for listening. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace.